I never thought I'd be the wife who'd trade her loyalty for a forbidden moment with her husband's boss. My name's Chloe, and this is my confession, raw and unfiltered, a story of betrayal so sharp it sliced through my marriage and left me in ashes. If you're watching, you're already hooked, caught in a truth that feels like desperation until it's a chain around your heart. This isn't about love or redemption, it's about infidelity, the kind that blinds you and dares you to leap. Stay with me because this one's going to unravel you. It's a tale of sacrifice, lust, and a sin I couldn't bury. It was a chilly October evening in Chicago, Illinois, the air thick with city smog and the hum of downtown lights. I was 25, a part-time barista, married to Liam, 27, a junior accountant facing layoffs at his firm. Our marriage was young, barely 2 years, but strained by his late hours and my fears of losing our stability. His boss, Daniel, 40, was a charismatic CFO with a sharp jawline and piercing gray eyes, known for his ruthless decisions. I'd gone to his office to beg for Liam's job, a last-ditch effort to save our future. The office was sleek, all glass and steel, the city skyline glowing through the windows. I wore a fitted sweater and skirt, my hair loose, my nerves electric. Daniel leaned back in his chair, his suit crisp, his smile calculated. "You're here for Liam," he said, his voice low, his eyes lingering on me. I nodded, my hands trembling, explaining Liam's dedication, our struggles. His hand brushed mine as he took my file, a spark that hit like a storm. I told myself to stay focused, to think of Liam, but Daniel's presence, his power, it was too much. The office was quiet, the city a distant hum, the air heavy with cologne and tension. Daniel stood, stepping closer, his hand grazing my arm, his gaze piercing. "I can help," he said, his tone soft but daring, his breath warm. My wedding ring felt heavy, a reminder of Liam, but my desperation was louder, a whisper I couldn't silence. I nodded, my silence a confession. His smile was slow, dangerous, like he'd seen my weakness. We moved to a private conference room, the air thick with leather and want the night shielding us. Daniel's hand slid to my waist, his fingers warm through the sweater, a spark that burned through my vows. "Tell me to stop," he whispered, his lips close, his breath hot with whiskey and ambition. I didn't. My hands found his chest, the suit smooth, his pulse strong. The city lights flickered, the office silent, and I was already lost. His kiss was a collision, fierce and reckless, tasting of whiskey and sin. My hand slid up his neck, pulling him closer, the conference table cool behind me. The night pulsed, the air heavy as his lips trailed to my throat, his hands bold, each touch a pulse of pleasure and betrayal. I was drowning, and Daniel was the tide pulling me into a sea of want. Liam's face, our marriage faded, leaving only him, his heat, my hunger. His kiss was a wildfire burning through my loyalty to Liam. Daniel's hands were bold, tugging at my sweater, his fingers grazing my skin through the fabric. The conference room was a haze, the city lights casting shadows that danced like secrets. My hands roamed his chest, the suit slipping, revealing skin that burned under my touch. The urban air matched my racing heart, the air thick with whiskey and desire. His lips were everywhere, my jaw, my collarbone, each kiss a claim, each touch a vow shattered. I pulled him toward the couch in the room, the door locked, shielding us from the world. My sweater was gone, discarded in the haze, revealing lace that made his breath catch. My hand slid lower, tracing his belt, his gasps sharp in the quiet space. The guilt was there, cold and sharp, but my desperation fueled every touch, every move. His hands were on my thighs, sliding under the lace, his fingers leaving trails of fire. The conference room was our world, the office a distant hum. I pressed him against the couch, my body molding to his, the lace a tease I couldn't control. His lips found mine again, hungry, demanding tasting of whiskey and want. My hand slid under his shirt, his skin warm and taut, his breath hitching as my fingers explored. The city lights glowed, painting us in neon and shadow, turning our sin into something almost beautiful. But it wasn't. It was raw, reckless, a collision of need and betrayal. "Chloe," he murmured my name, a spell pulling me deeper. My fingers tangled in his hair, my body arching into his, a demand he couldn't resist. The night was suffocating the city, relentless, as my hands gripped his shoulders, his pants a barrier I wanted to tear away. The pleasure was building a storm of its own, raw and relentless, edged with the guilt of betraying Liam. When it happened, it was a collision, a wave crashing over us. His groans were sharp, muffled by the walls, my hands holding him tight, our bodies moving as one. The pleasure was fierce, overwhelming, a betrayal that felt like power. The couch creaked, the night heavy, with our heat, my sin unfolding. The office stood still, indifferent, as I crossed a line I couldn't uncross. It was everything, every ache, every want, every vow I'd buried. Afterward, we stayed there, tangled, breathless, the air heavy with the scent of whiskey and us. Daniel's hair fell across my shoulder, his fingers tracing my hip, his eyes half closed with satisfaction. The guilt crashed in a deluge, but his warmth held it at bay, a lie I wanted to believe. "Liam keeps his job," he said, his voice rough, a bargain sealed. I nodded, my heart torn, knowing the cost of my sin. The Chicago autumn lingered, and so did the weight of my betrayal. I left the office, my sweater back on Daniel's scent whiskey, and sin clinging to me. Liam was at home, oblivious, his trust a knife in my chest. I tried to be the wife he deserved, cooking dinner, smiling through his stories, but Daniel's touch haunted me, his face, in every shadow, every dream. The guilt was a beast clawing at me, but his fire burned brighter, a flame I couldn't douse. Our stolen moments continued, fleeting encounters in his office, a hotel bar, his penthouse, each a spark, each fading fast but leaving me craving more. One night I saw him at a company event, his eyes catching mine. Liam was beside me, proud of his job being saved, unaware of the price. Daniel approached, his voice low. "You're not done," he said, his hand grazing my arm, reigniting the spark. I told myself to stop, to fight for Liam, but my body betrayed me. He texted later, midnight, "My place." I went, the night thick with rain, his silhouette waiting in the dark. His penthouse was raw, the air heavy with cologne and desire, his suit discarded, his skin glowing in the lamplight. His kiss was fiercer now, desperate hands tearing at my blouse. My hands roamed his body, greedy, memorizing every muscle, every shudder. The rain's hum hid our sin, but the guilt was sharper, a blade I couldn't outrun. His lips found my throat, his hands sliding under my lace, his touch a brand I'd never erase. Liam grew suspicious. "You're distant, Chloe," he said, his eyes searching mine over dinner. I froze, his trust a contrast to my betrayal. "Just work stress." I lied, my voice tight, my mind flashing to Daniel's penthouse, his hands on my skin. His frown deepened, and I feared he saw the truth. "I love you," he said, and the words were a weight crushing me. Then it happened. Liam caught us, his car pulling up as I left Daniel's penthouse. My blouse rumpled, Daniel's silhouette in the doorway. "Chloe," he shouted, his face crumpling, his pain a mirror of my guilt. I froze, my sin unraveling, his trust shattered. With him, he whispered, tears in his eyes, and I couldn't answer. I told Daniel it was over. He stood in his penthouse, his eyes blazing, his shirt open. "You'll miss this," he said, his voice a challenge. He left a cufflink behind his initials scratched into it, tucked into my purse. I should have thrown it away, but I kept it a secret that scorched. The Chicago rain lingered, and so did my shame, a fire I couldn't quench. Liam confronted me. Why, he asked, holding the cufflink, his voice trembling. I froze my sin, unraveling his trust, a mirror of my guilt. I confessed not all but enough, admitting to Daniel my desperation, my betrayal. He left, his face broken, our marriage over. I was alone, the cufflink in my hand. Daniel's scent, a ghost I'd never escape. This is my story, a warning to anyone who thinks they can chase fire and not get burned. If you've watched this far, you know that betrayal, that ache for what you shouldn't take. So hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, call me a fool, a sinner, or just a wife who fell. Like the video, or don't, but share it with someone who's felt infidelity's sting. Check out my other stories, they're just as raw, just as real. Ever sacrificed everything for a moment of weakness? Spill your secrets below, I'm listening and I've been there.